Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. This video is all about early spring chores, basically cleaning up your beds. If your garden's like mine, you kind of left it a bit of a mess come the end of fall, beginning of winter. So today's really about cleaning out old debris, cleaning up the beds, putting down some fertilizers, checking on plants that survive the winter, getting them in shape to start growing again, like spinach and kale, and also to move mulch to the side that you put down maybe in the fall, because you want that mulch to be pushed to the side so that the sunshine can start warming up the soil and getting things ready for direct seeding. So let's just jump right into it. Basic chores to do early spring. An important chore to do early spring is to move any mulch that you put down over to the side. We want the sun to come in and beat down just on the soil, not the mulch, and warm that top 2-4 inches, that top 5-10 centimeters of the soil, and get it warmer so that when we put in seeds, the seeds germinate, and when we put in our transplants, the roots have a nice warm space. So I also want to clarify too, this is what I consider to be organic matter. Leaves, straw, hay, grass clippings, and I put this down last fall, and you just want to move everything over to the side. We're probably going to see some worms and stuff in here too. Just move everything over to the side, let the sun come down and warm this up. When you put down mulch in the summer, it keeps the soil cooler because the sun's beating down on the mulch holds water, the soil doesn't overheat. When you're going from a frozen winter into early spring, the mulch insulates the earth and it stays colder. So move, the mulch off to the side and let the sun warm it up. And that way, when you seed or you put in your transplants, they're going to grow, they're going to germinate quicker, and they're going to grow more quickly for you. Now, I just want to clarify, this is what I consider organic matter. Put this down as often as you can on your garden beds and just let it break down over time. It's going to feed the soil. Compost is this when it's fully broken down after a year or so of sitting in a pile. And in compost, the difference is in compost, you can plant seeds directly into quality compost. You never want to put seeds into something like this. They're just not going to do well. So again, real quick, move any mulch that you have out to the side, let the sun warm everything up, get it ready for starting seeds and for your transplants. Another great thing to do early spring is to put down your snail and slug baits. Any brand works as long as it's baited with either iron phosphate or sulfur. They all work. I've tried different products. Check out my linked garden Amazon shop to find products for your garden. It'll make shopping a whole lot easier. But a number one problem that I have in my garden here, Maryland Zone 7, is really the snails and slugs. If I put down all my leafy greens now, didn't treat the ground, the snails and slugs would just chow it all down. So now is a perfect time, just as the ground begins to warm up, when you might put seeds in. If your seeds are going to germinate and plants are going to grow, the snail and slugs have woken up. So put this down now, just follow the instructions. You don't need to pile it, you just scatter it liberally, and it does a really, really good job of taking care of those pests. One of the first chores when you can get into the garden, again, we're going to have 60, 70 degree weather, even 80 degrees over the next 5 days, and it's going to drop back down to the normal March temperatures. But now's a great time to just clean up the garden, and you're probably going to be overwhelmed. So one of the things I recommend is just get to the beds. I'm going to do this container section. We'll do a before and after, and I'll show you another section. And just throw everything right into the walking path. Pick it all up, clean it all up later. Don't get distracted with having to take stuff out of the containers or the beds and then, move it to the wheelbarrow, to compost, whatever. First mission, really, clean everything out. And as you're going through, some of the stuff that overwinters here is spinach, and if it's mostly green and the stems aren't rotten, that's collards. If the stem of the collards and the kale aren't soft or rotted through, you can keep them. Just trim back all the dead leaves on the spinach, on the kale, on the collards, and they will be some of the first crops, the greens, that I can harvest. So I'm going to clean up this area, just show you what I'm talking about. Just want to give a close-up of the before. So that's collards, some spinach right in there. So I'm going to clean up those containers, and then I'm going to get right into this space and clean all that up. For your kales and your collards, what you want to do is really look at the stem. And if it's solid, this is not rotted anywhere, I'm just going to cut everything back and we'll get plenty of green growth out of this. Because kale, collards are biennials, this plant is going to want to put out some leaves early, but it's going to put out a lot of blooms because it wants to seed. So biennials, the second year, they want to put out lots of flowers and lots of seeds. Cool thing is you can eat the flowers and you can eat the little flower pods that are forming before they bloom. So they're perfect really for salads or whatever you want to use them for. This is how the spinach and collards look after hitting them with that water-soluble fertilizer. It greens up pretty quickly. Trending warming temperatures going up. You know, the plants that overwintered are going to take off for you and you'll get them first to your table. For the spinach, like I was saying, I'm just removing leaves. Wanted to show you, so I put in a lot of my smaller pieces of garlic from last year. I just put a big handful in a hole really. And I use this for the garlic greens. They're going to come out during the winter. They're going to be beat up. They're going to look something like that. I just go ahead and trim them down. After we kind of clean up this spot, talk about water-soluble fertilizer and then the next chore on really how to manage your early spring garden. Here's a kale plant. And again, you get in there, make sure the stem is not rotted, and you can see in the joints, new kale's coming out. So the stem is good. You also want to be checking for, and believe it or not, even though it's only March 7th, you want to be turning the leaves over. And right on cue, let's see, right up here where my finger is, that's a whitefly. So whiteflies can manage pretty well over freezing winters. And then they show up, here's another one right there below my thumb. So you do want to clean off the leaves, and most of these will get removed. All these outer leaves really will just get, I push them down and break them off, remove them. Don't save anything that's yellow. All these side leaves down here, what I'm going to really be eating and harvesting. But you want to inspect the undersides of your brassicas for whiteflies and treat them, because they will start taking off as it warms up and they'll spread to your transplants that you're going to be bringing out soon. The beds are looking good, so it's important to kind of look at what you've accomplished. It'll help motivate you to keep going. And the whole goal again, clean up the beds, throw everything into the paths, worry about that later. Just wanted to show you something cool. This is horseradish. So I just removed all the debris that was over it. And this is what your horseradish root looks like. And this will come back full force. I could divide this up now and plant it in different parts of the garden, but I usually leave it here. Horseradish grows extremely well. Maryland Zone 7 can take deep freezes. If you like it, I do recommend it as one of your herbs because you can also eat the leaves. Here's the space cleaned up. Again, go through the beds, do everything we were just talking about. Looks so much better. Going to be stopping right here. I have this urge to collect and save all the bean seeds on there. And one of the things you want to do is kind of fight that. Like if I didn't use these come March 7th, if I didn't take care of them back in December and January, just get rid of them. I don't need them. I don't want to waste the seeds, but it'll be something that slows me down. So I'm just going to yank those off, put them into the wheelbarrow, throw them into the woods somewhere where maybe they will germinate and I'll grow some green bean vines in that area. But don't get bogged down by thinking you need to do something with something that you haven't touched for 6 months. Just get rid of it, move on. It's a brand new year. Now that you've cleaned up a section, definitely take the time to appreciate what you accomplished. Don't look over your shoulder or my shoulder because there's a whole lot more to do. Look at what you completed, give yourself credit for that. So now that we've cleaned out the beds, saved what can be saved, cleaned up the space, you can see the big wheelbarrow, that's all going to compost. Next step is to assess the beds. Some of them are going to need some soil added. Some of them are going to just get a water-soluble fertilizer. And then the other beds, you can put down an organic granular fertilizer or compost or both. You don't really need organic granular. If you have plenty of compost, that will save you some money. But now it's just a basic, quick fix to the beds, fertilize them, feed the plants that are still there, and you're good to go for your first chores of, the spring garden. Generally speaking, the beds look pretty good. This one is a little bit low. I'm just going to use cheap bag of topsoil. I like the Shenandoah brand. Whenever you're buying the topsoils, check out my linked videos. Make sure you're not buying garbage product and you're not overspending. You just don't want a lot of woody material in there. But just for a filler, basic topsoil, it's just going to be dumped in here. I'm not even going to be planting right now, but I will just spread that out level it off a little bit. And when I go to fertilize, if I've got plenty of compost, which I do, I'll put some compost down, and that'll be good. I'll just let, you know, the rain and a couple of weeks worth of temperature and rain and weather deal with this. It'll be planted later. The bed back there is gonna need some soil too. I put potatoes in there, but I'm gonna be setting that up a little bit differently. The bag of soil has been leveled off. A little more woody than I'd like it, but Shenandoah topsoil usually does a good job of keeping it more soil and less woody product in there. That's going to be good enough for this bed. I put in bigger seeds like peas, or I drop in transplants, sometimes a tomato transplant right in the middle, or I put in cucumber seeds. The bigger seeds are going to be okay with this. I've used this topsoil before. The reason I don't want to turn the soil is I don't want to bring up weed seeds that are laying dormant down there. I just want to put layers in. Once your soil is pretty good, you just don't really have to turn it unless you really want to. But you can just let it all kind of sit like this. I have plenty of compost. I could put some compost over this. I could put in the organic granular, one or the other. You really don't need both. You're certainly welcome to overdo it if you want. The plants would appreciate it, but it's not necessary. So this is just a quick setup. This bed's going to be good to go for 2026. I'm not sure what's going to go in this bed this year, and it looks pretty good. Maybe a little soil could go down there on the right side. So if you have a lot of compost, and I say that because not everybody has access to quality compost and not everybody has the space to make it. But if you did, you could put down 3-4 inches, 7.5, 10 centimeters, just all the way across here, and you just plant into it, and your beds are going to be great for the rest of 2026. Maybe a water-soluble fertilizer, but I'll talk about that in future videos. If you don't have that, any organic granular fertilizer works. I always recommend getting something on sale. This is like a 21-pound bag, and you can get it full price, I think for like, I don't know, $24, $25. Well under $2 a pound. I got this on sale for like $4 a bag years back. So, you know, I'm not worried about the cost of that. So it's just a handful, and I just sprinkle it on like that. It's going to go all the way across the bottom, or the top, you know, fairly liberally. It's going to sit for a couple of weeks. The rain will wash it in. Just want to show you how I'm putting it on, because it doesn't have to be fancy. Not even scratching it into the surface at this point. But that's going to add basic NP and K and other nutrients to the soil. Being a dry organic, microbes have to break it down. It's going to take several weeks, months for it to totally be digested, but it'll start being broken down by microbes, stuff like that, and it's going to work into the top couple inches of the soil. The rain is fine. If you want to scratch it in, go ahead, scratch it in. An alternative is alfalfa pellets. That's a 40-pound bag you can buy for about $25, and they are big, but as soon as these get wet, they swell up and they turn into like sawdust. You could just sprinkle it down. Let me just give you what it looks like. And notice now I've got 2 types of organic fertilizer on there. Now, I should say this alfalfa is not certified organic, but you can buy it that way if you want. I never had issues buying just the basic organic or the basic alfalfa pellets. I don't have any rodents that come and bother this. Once you put it down, if you're worried about something eating it, soak it in. It's going to swell up, turn to sawdust. Nothing eats it really at that point. But this bed is really set up. It's good to go. I wouldn't plant seeds directly into this now, but after a couple of weeks, you just come in, scratch up the surface like that, and you can do whatever you want. Just want to take a second to talk about compost again, because it's really important. New gardeners, sometimes we think we have to be feeding the soil over and over again. You don't. So in the case here, I've got the dry organic granular, both alfalfa pellets, organic granular in there, and that's really plenty to really give the beds what they need. They're going to stay like this. I probably won't plant in here for 3 or 4 weeks. You know, let it get rained on, do all that kind of stuff. If you're putting organic matter on top of your soil throughout the season, at the end of fall, you know, just before winter sets in, sometimes I do exactly what you see here with my beds. Then I put an inch of organic mulch on there. It might be hay, straw, leaves, last of the grass clippings, compost, or stuff from my compost bin that didn't fully break down. And you're just putting in the organic matter that over the years breaks down, gets into the soil, feed your plants. And it's just one, you end up with a better soil system, ecosystem in your soil. The plants like it, plants grow better, and it's really inexpensive. So you don't have to keep buying expensive fertilizers and like giving your plants fertilizer every month and tweaking it with specialized, bloom fertilizer and all that kind of stuff. You can do that if you want. But I really found in a home garden, there's really no difference between kind of the basic setup that I'm showing you and then the regular use of organic matter for mulch and compost when you have it. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell tomato and pepper seeds, $1.75 a pack. All other seeds are only $1.50. And since shooting the beginning of this video, it rained, and you can see that the alfalfa pellets do break down into like a sawdust. So animals aren't going to come and eat this once it's saturated with water. It makes a really good organic fertilizer, and it's really inexpensive, like I was saying, 20-25 bucks for a 40-pound bag. And again, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'll teach you how to grow an entire garden, save money, and have some fun.